Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, today we're going to be breaking down some film on Amron-Ra St. Brown. And the very first play, man, we already got a red area position, and we already got a gotta have it moment. So it's a 3rd and goal. You know, obviously, when you get to the red zone, the goal is to come up with points, whether it's a field goal, whether it's a touchdown. But you would prefer to come up with a touchdown. So you want to try to make the most of whenever you get those opportunities down, especially when you're in that position in the red area. So it was just kind of a simple route concept. I think it was good play calling. And he actually had Jahmyr Gibbs right there, too, possibly underneath in the little wheel, not wheel, but like kind of like a little check down route. But good play calling on Detroit Lions end. And it's just good execution for Amron St. Brown. So these are the plays right here, those 3rd down plays, those 4th down plays, those plays where we say, OK, we need to make a play because this could possibly be a deciding factor in us winning and losing this game. And plays like this are examples of why guys like Amron St. Brown, guys like Justin Jefferson, guys like Jamar Chase, guys like CeeDee Lamb. This is the reason why these guys are the top guys in the National Football League, because whenever it's time for a play to be made, whenever their numbers are called, they're going to show up and show out every time. All right, so we got us another one of those gotta have it moments. Now, this is a situation that as an offense you want to try to avoid at all costs, and that's a 3rd and 12. And sometimes it can be from negative plays, sacks, maybe tackle for losses, and sometimes it can be because of penalties. So on this play right here, you got the Detroit Lions, you got Amron St. Brown. He's lined up kind of in a tight split, which means that he's kind of lined up closer to the line of scrimmage inside the numbers opposed to being lined up outside the numbers. And I think that he does a lot more of his damage based off of that alignment anyways. And on top of that, I kind of think that's a offensive formation that the Detroit Lions use a lot of. But the whole reason for doing that is it gives your receiver more options in terms of being able to, set up defenders on releases and things like that, because now you have a two-way go. You got the inside and you got the outside, opposed to if you was lined up on a much wider split outside the numbers when you have that sideline that you having to work against. But right here, lined up inside the numbers, a tight split, and a guy to have a situation, and man, he makes a pretty tough catch. Jared Goff puts a pretty nice pass on him right in between the numbers. The pass rush for the Arizona Cardinals didn't really get to him. You've seen that they kind of kept a tight end in the backfield right there. Boom, tight end picked him up. Jared Goff stepped on up and had a pretty clean pocket to be able to make that pass. And, you're going to get it to your most reliable player in those gotta-have-it situations just like this one right here. All right, so if you can see the current trend from breaking down film on Amron St. Brown, a lot of his plays that he's making is coming on the money downs, the gotta have it downs, those 3rd and goals, just like this one right here. This is a red area possession, low red area, 3rd and goal. Like I said, man, once you get down this close to the touchdown, to the end zone, you want to come up with 7 points opposed to just 3 points. So they've been doing a good job at capitalizing on that. Obviously, you see right now he's lined up in another tight split, and he just gets matched up. And like I say, it looked like that might have been some type of miscommunication on the Seahawks end, with him being that wide open, like one of the defenders end up picking up the wrong guys, because like it was some type of zone coverage, cover 4, maybe quarters coverage. You can tell by the deep, like from the secondary, they're not really watching one man. They're kind of watching the quarterback and kind of trying to read the quarterback eyes, which typically you do that in zone coverage. And obviously in the red area, a lot of teams kind of either run cover 4 or cover 0, over the top help, because things become so much bunched up. So like I said, they ran a tight split. Amron St. Brown kind of really just ran an out route, and like I said, I think it was probably a miscommunication error there that allowed him to be that wide open. But he made a phenomenal catch, being able to get both feet down, acrobatic catch to secure the catch and come up with 6 points on his possession. So like I said, man, that's been a trend of breaking down film on Amron St. Brown so far. There's a lot of the plays that he's making are on those money downs and those gotta have it situations. So to be considered a number one receiver, to me, you have to be able to win these one-on-one matchups whenever you do get them. Now, like I said, depending on how good you are, you're probably not going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups, especially in gotta-have-it situations. But this wasn't a gotta-have-it situation. I think this might have been a 2nd and goal play, and they just took a shot here. They got a matchup that they wanted, and they exploited it. Amron St. Brown did a good job at selling the route. He sold it as if he was going to run a fade route. If you look at him, he goes, boom, boom. Look at the head. Boom. Now bring it back down. So he turns the head around as if he's trying to locate the ball as if it's going to be a fade, but then is able to break it on the outside. So, I mean, it was pretty decent coverage on the cornerback's end. I mean, you can play that only as perfect as you can. Like I always say that the most impossible pass to defend is a good pass. So if the quarterback puts the ball in a position to where only the wide receiver can get to it, it's a pretty, that's a very hard predicament for a receiver, which are normally like those back shoulder fades and plays kind of similar to that one. Now, the ball placement right here wasn't necessarily on his back shoulder. I mean, it was put in a position to where it kind of was thrown behind him. And if the cornerback would have been able to get his head back around, he probably could have made a play on that. But I mean, in that tight situation, like being down there in the red area, it's kind of hard to do without losing sight of the receiver that you're guarding. So, but like I said, man, just good route running and good execution on Amron-Ra St's part. So once again, this is Amron-Ra St. making another high stakes play. They're down by 1 point with 1 minute and 12 seconds left, and with this, it puts them in a better position to either win the game with a field goal or even possibly score a touchdown. But it's just basically, just a one-on-one matchup with Amron-Ra St. matched up on a defensive back. Like I said, once again, it's like it's one of those things where whenever we get these matchups, we need you to win these matchups, especially in those those money down situations. Like right now, getting the first down, it extends the drive and it puts them in a position to be able to go down there and win the game. But also, man, just the toughness on this play to know that a hit is coming, whether you catch the ball or whether you don't catch the ball. But you know that the hit is coming, you still make the play and you take the hit, catch the ball, and that's just a definition of toughness. So that's what to me I see with Amron-Ra St. is an embodiment of just a tough physical receiver. Kind of a Steve Smith similar style in terms of being, not the biggest guy, but, a pretty, firecracker in a sense, and like I say, I know it's probably not in this film, but something that stood out to me was from the documentary on Netflix, Receiver, with him, JJ, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Devontae Adams. And Dan Campbell was talking about a situation where they were losing the game pretty much. I think they were getting blown out. And Amron-Ra St. comes in and he goes to Dan Quinn and said, "Hey, can I get back in the game?" And Dan Quinn was like, "I mean, we're losing and we're not going to throw the ball. We're just running the ball, trying to end the game." And he's like, "That's okay. I'll go in and block." And then Dan Campbell says that he went in to go block. And he was blocking as if this was a championship game, as if him blocking was the deciding factor in whether we was going to win or lose this game, with the game already being lost, So that was just something that stood out to me in terms of his competitive nature. Once again, we got Amron-Ra St. cashing in on those money downs, man. This right here was actually a 4th down play that they converted right here. And that's just kind of been the story of watching him, man. It's like every, majority of the plays that I have been seeing so far have been those crucial moments. Like anybody can make plays on first downs. Anybody can make plays on second downs. But it's about when can you make plays on those downs that really matter. Those third down situations whether it's third and long, third and short, 4th down situations, you know what I mean? Can you make those plays, and can you make those plays consistently? And I feel like Amron-Ra St. so far has been the embodiment of this. So in this play right here, man, they sent him in motion. A lot of times offenses send their guys in motion to try to identify what the defense is in. Right here, it showed that they was in man coverage. Had the defensive back never followed Amron, it could have been an indication that it was in a zone coverage. So it probably would have been a different they probably would have went somewhere else depending on what defensive coverage the defense is in. Because I believe in most routes, good offensive coordinators, I feel like they have a combination of routes in there that can either beat man, that you would consider man beaters, or zone beaters. That way, if they come out in zone, we can go to the zone beater. But if they come out in man, we can go to the man beater. So it gives you options. So right here, they went man coverage, and they kind of just ran like a little out route, sent them in motion, had them already kind of out leveraged in terms of positioning he had on the cornerback, and the cornerback was just never really able to get his head around, locate the ball, and they just capitalized on it. But once again, like I said, man, whenever his number is called on those money down situations, man, he comes up more times than not. All right, so we got another money down situation, man. Another guy to have a situation. Like I said, man, that's the story of Amron-Ra St. So this play right here, man, it was I like that this play because it was different from a lot of his other plays. A lot of his other plays that we've seen have been more so possession catches, just him catching it and getting a touchdown, and him just securing the catch and going down, not really having opportunity for yards after the catch. And on this play right here, he shows that he has the capability of being able to get yards after the catch. And I think a lot of it too comes down to one thing I would say that I've noticed about watching his film is that The offensive play caller for the Lions is a pretty darn good play caller. Some of these routes and concepts and things that he's drawing up, man, and then just overall the execution of how they're performing it. But it looks like I say, man, it like it was just in a man coverage. The Jaguars is in some type of man coverage. I don't know if it was cover one, cover zero. It might have been cover zero based off what I'm saying, but then the safety could have possibly been out of frame, which would have been making it a cover one. But I mean, sending him on that cross route is that cross route drag route. That's just that's what you would consider a play that's a man beater, and he just kind of out leverages him right there, and then almost to him running into his teammate kind of slowed him down just a tad bit. And, he just wasn't able to catch back up with Amron-Ra St. Brown in time. And, obviously, that's the worst position you want to be in as a DB, chasing a guy who can actually run like Amron-Ra St. Brown. That's a recipe for disaster, as you see here. But once again, man, him just capitalizing on those money down situations. Whenever his number is called, some way, somehow, he's going to find a way to make the play. I think after watching this, man, anybody who's prepping and playing the Detroit Lions, you need to take Amron-Ra St. Brown into consideration on those gotta have it money downs. Here we go again with a third and impossible. This ain't a 3rd and 10. This ain't a 3rd and 8. This ain't a 3rd and 7. This is 3rd and impossible. 3rd and 17 conversion. And not only does he convert it, he takes it all the way down the field for a touchdown. So, man, like I say, man, I think a lot of it that I've been seeing has just come from good play calling. Timing on the play calling. I think a lot of it comes from good ball placement on Jared Goff. And then I think a lot of it comes from good route running and just good execution all across the board from the Detroit Lions, man. But like I said, man, it's just like watching him play after play after play after play has been big down plays. You know what I mean? It's like he had a 14-minute highlight compilation, but it's like within those 14 minutes, you kind of get an understanding of what he brings to the table in terms of his value to the Detroit Lions offense. And you realize that, man, he's really that go-to guy. Whenever it's time for a play to be made, like I said, whether it's a 3rd down, it's a 4th down, you know that some type of play is being drawn up for number 14. And then there was another play that was in that I watched. I didn't put in here, which was a hook and ladder play where they threw it to Amron-Ra St. Brown off a slant. He ran a good route in the slant, sold the slant, caught the ball, pitched it to Jahmyr Gibbs for a touchdown. But that just shows you that whenever it's time for a play to be made, whether it's him, and he threw a touchdown to Goff as well that I didn't put in there too. So those are two plays that he affected without him actually having to, be the one carrying the ball across the pylon for a touchdown, just like all his other ones. But, man, this is just he's a hell of a player, man, competitive wise, man. Detroit Lions got something when they drafted this young man here, man. But that is it for this video. If you did enjoy this video, and if you're a Detroit Lions fan for doggone sure, man, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, man. If you did enjoy this video, man, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure that you turn on the notification bell, and make sure that the notification bell is turned on. That way you won't miss an upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.